Hello everyone, my name is Ryle Gagne. I'll be going over the Hamilton Grange Library's teen space. We'll be going over the basic layout, where it's located, how teens can access this location, the furnishings that are provided, the basic layout of the space, and how teens can take ownership of the space. I'll be providing some examples from the Hamilton Grange Library Instagram. I specifically pulled some pictures from their teen space. Luckily, the decorations make it obvious which pictures are from the teen space. So you'll see some of those so you can see actual teens using it and pictures taken off of the New York Public Library website for the design of the space. Let's get started. Here is a basic blueprint of the teen space. The Hamilton Grange Library received a grant by the Star Foundation in the effort to renovate spaces for youth in libraries. These grant funds allocated to the Hamilton Grange Library allowed the library to renovate the unused third floor. This is a 4,400 square foot space specifically designed for teens. Image of the space. The space is meant for ages 13 to 18 as outlined in the New York Public Library's policy. There's a section for child and young adult safety. Adults and children may browse materials, but services and facilities are designated specifically for teens. Here we see the layout in a different format. You can see that each of these areas have labeled. Starting from left to right, you see the reading area, the media center. There's an area for high back chairs. The info desk is placed right in the middle, and it is actually really close to the access point, which is a very good design. Following that is the exam prep niche, some step bleachers, which is personally my favorite. The performance area, that you will see later, is very versatile. And the snack and chat niche, which is going to be my main recommendation area. And the tiered stacks as well. Okay, this is a visual of the space from the stepped bleachers. Um, the design is very basic. It's good to withstand time and for changes and to really make the space for each generation possible. As we can see, there's just a primary color wall, which I will show you later. These walls end up hosting a lot of the teen artwork. The left of the service desk is where the main entrance is. I love the service desk. It is right in the center. It is easily to access. The desk is a little bit lower, which it allows teens to approach it. The staff is not hiding behind computers or promotions or material on the desk. The stacks are a little bit lower, which allows you to kind of see the space in its entirety. That's kind of important because it allows teens to look around and see maybe what activities they want to engage in, see what's going on in the space as a whole. All of these furnishings can be moved. It's very easy to reimagine the space. This is really nice for programming. Things can just be put to the side or put in the storage area. It doesn't take a lot of effort to move them. Teens can also move and redo the space as they want without having to ask a staff to intervene. These are some of the programs that are offered that I pulled from their Instagram, just to demonstrate that they do put the age range on their marketing information, which is really nice because it's just letting people know, again, that this teen space is for teens. It shows that they are actively trying to reserve that space just for teens and not have it be infiltrated by children or adults. If you read these carefully, you'll see that once you get to know the space a little bit better, they are using these spaces for multiple programs. So if you look at this homework hour one on your right, you see that there's a quiet time in the bubble. This is also the media bubble that you'll see later. It's used for gaming. It has a good soundproof system, so the sound isn't really going out to the rest of the library. It's nice that something like that could be used for studying as well without affecting the entirety of the space. So if you think of it this way, people can be running around or talking, using the space in different ways, but also still be able to do their homework, even though that's a stereotypical thing that the library offers. It is still nice. It's still good to encourage our teens to study. And this is just signage that mainly I just wanted to highlight that they are doing a good job of maintaining the space for teens. As I mentioned before, the space has a lot of opportunity to for teens to make the space their own. Before we saw just like a plain wall, probably at the opening of this teen space, but here you can see that they are advertising programs. They have this sticky wall over here, which actually on their Instagram, it's an ongoing poetry sticky wall, which I thought really helped engage teens. Kind of introduces them to poetry in an alternative way. Right here you see these long rectangular benches with fold-away tables. If you look closely, you can see that these tables also have wheels. This right here is pushed up against the stepped benches. So before you kind of just saw the area with the round cushions and just the rectangular benches, but it shows like how this space can be transformed very easily. These are all able to be moved around. As you can see in this picture, there's actually just a partial puzzle being put out. This can change in an instant. It would be good for a gathering. Someone else can slide a bench away and use it for lounging. It really just has so many options, and the teens can really make it their own instead of just having a set table and chair location that is just meant for studying or just reading. They can pull out different things and moderate themselves to really interact with each other. This slide, I just wanted to do another quick overview of some of the main furniture that you'll find in the teen space. This is also a great visual of that service desk and how inviting it is. I mentioned in my paper that I really like this location. It is central and it doesn't seem like a watchtower. It doesn't look like it's put there just to make sure people are behaving. It really does look approachable. It's simple. You can see who's behind that desk because it's by the entrance point. People are able to be welcomed right away. This will also help librarians and staff to kind of gauge if the person entering the space is a teen and whether or not they need to let them know that they're allowed to look at the material, but once they have checked out, that this space is designed for teens. So going back to the furniture, these round cushions, they can be found in green, red, and orange that you'll kind of see throughout the slides. Very simple. By browsing the Instagram and online, you see teens using these as desks, as chairs, as basically anything. They are very creative in the way they are using these. These long rectangular benches can be moved around. You can kind of have this open L shape as you see in this picture, or you can kind of bring it together to make more of like a table and chairs feel. The main thing I wanted to point out on this slide too is I talked about before is the lower stacks. These are great. You can see the entirety of the space from any location, and the flat surfaces of the stacks are good for promoting materials, displaying teen work. In the next slide, I'll kind of show you what the staff has done for some of these displays, and I think it would really engage the teens and kind of draw their attention because it's more at eye level for them to actually notice these displays instead of them really having to look up in order to see anything that the librarian staff is trying to present to them. Okay, as promised, here is some of the displays that have been in this teen space. You can also see in this picture on the right like judging by these librarians' height, how tall the stacks are, and that you can see beyond them to the other sections of the library. I definitely chose this slide because teen fantasy is my favorite, but you can see that this display is just very well done. It is at eye level. It is engaging and pretty simple where the books are the main focus. I think whoever did this display did a great job, but mainly it just shows you what can be done on these stacks. I think also displaying teen artwork or Legos or things that they have invented, or even giving them access to design these themselves is a great idea and a great use of these lower bookshelves. In this slide, I just wanted to go over some of the lighting in this space. There is a lot of natural light. I also like that the architects really thought about this when they were designing the space. My main recommendation for this space is to not do the darken projection zone. This would be this space could easily be used for a lot of different kinds of programming, and I think just painting it black makes it kind of a space that you shouldn't go into. It's just very dark, very mysterious. And so I think that this could still be used for a projection area. The way that it's laid out, it kind of blocks the natural light anyways. You could still definitely do some projections in there, or maybe even get a low-cost curtain. But I think maybe painting over that space and using it for different kinds of programming instead of just projection and they had mentioned photography. I think this space would be used a lot better if it was given more options and the teens were able to utilize it in different ways. Again, this dark space just kind of screams off limits or mysterious to me. This performance space is absolutely my favorite part of this teen space. I love the stepped bleachers. It reminds me kind of the iconic high school gymnasium or football field, or just in general a very like casual like place to hang out. I like that the performance space is very open. It leaves so much room for different things. Like in the picture on the right, teens can just hang out, they can study. If you look closely, a lot of these step bleachers also have outlets, which is amazing because you can bring your laptop, you can charge your phone, you can share and process and engage with other people, or you can do personal study. In the next couple slides, I'll show you how they are using this space in different ways. There's one that is run more by the teens, another that gives it that more performance lecture type of feel, and then one more example, but this kind of makes the space for me. I just love it. Okay, here are the two more examples. So on the left, you see two teens, they're playing with their laptops. It looks like they are doing kind of a STEAM project. I love how they're sitting in this picture. They're sitting backwards. They are on the lowest steps, and they don't have anything supporting their back. Besides, it looks like they're backpacks. One of the team's shoes is off. I love that they made this space their own. It kind of shows that this space is working, that teens are feeling comfortable. They're working together. The picture on the right, kind of see more of a librarian constructing the lesson here. But you can see below that there's a rollaway table, that they've turned those benches into a different shape than before. I saw a lot of examples on their Instagram about escape rooms or mysteries, and they use that caution tape a lot, and it really looked like it engaged the teens. Again, it just shows that it's just transforming the space very simply, and it just allows the teens to make these step bleachers just kind of their own. Okay, here's one more example of how they are using that performance space when programming was allowed. They used that main area, they pulled in some of those rolling desks. This still gives access to those steps by other teens that maybe want to use the space. It also allows them to kind of observe what other teens are doing and maybe will pique their interest to engage or ask questions about different programming that is offered. At the very least, it allows teens to observe each other, kind of learn from each other, and then give the option to join in. Okay, this brings us to technology. There's a lot of technology offered, as we talked about before. There's plugs on these bleachers, which allows the teens to plug in, use their laptops, plug in their phones. To the right, you'll see the media center. It is covered in clear glass. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next slide. I wanted to focus on this desktop area. So there is desktops available for teens. They're located in kind of this X shape, which allows teens to have their own space but interact with each other. Since there's so much space to plug in laptops and things like that throughout the teen space, it's also nice that they provide these desktops with keyboards and just kind of a traditional sitting space. It is close to the service desk, which is nice. So if they have questions about different resources or homework or basically anything, they're always so close to that service desk where they can just simply ask without really having to hunt someone down. Okay, on this slide we can see inside this media room. As you saw in the previous slide, it kind of has that clear barrier where teens can, it looks like right here they're playing Guitar Hero. That kind of star shape above, which looks like lights, is actually a sound system. It brings the sound directly back down, so maybe it won't bother those outside of this space. I've also seen that they use this space for different programming, which is nice because since there's not really another huge room, these clear windows once again kind of encourage people to look in, see what's going on, maybe ask questions, maybe join in. You can really transform this space beyond just for media use. If you look to the left, there's just a little picture that shows how the sound is directed down. Again, it's just indicating that it's visible. This is kind of nice for the staff too. They can really just have full access to look around in the teen area. Maybe observe the teens and kind of see what is engaging them, what is not, how they're really utilizing this media space. It could easily just become a lounge center. Those round cushions are great for that. We'll kind of see in the next slide how easily this space could just be for working on homework or doing other activities. It really doesn't have to just be used as a media center. This is kind of why I like this location better than how they designed the projection screen. Thought it was thought through a little bit better and really shows how it can be used for different things. Okay, here's a quick closer look into the media center. You see those round cushions are being used as a desktop once again. I think the biggest flaw in this media center is the lack of outlets. So media center is kind of a big name for the technology that actually is in here. It looks like there's just a plasma TV, but I think some more floor outlets or even in the structure itself, as if they added some electrical, would be great, especially if teens could be playing and then be able to plug in just kind of on the wall and things like that. But mostly this picture just shows that the space can be used for things beyond just like gaming or presentations. It really gives the freedom of kind of having a personal space within the teen space if you wanted to hold like a study session or board games or just a lot of different options here. Okay, so for my last slide, this was, besides the protection area, this was kind of the concept I didn't understand in this teen space. I love the theory behind it, kind of the snack and study nook. It has like the typical tables. This might just be me, but it seems a little claustrophobic even given the bright color. I would love for the snack to just be throughout the whole teen library. This kind of tucked away corner seems like it's still not something you are supposed to do within the space. Kind of seems like they're hiding a little bit. I think this is easily turned into a study room, especially if you don't want to be distracted from the surroundings of the rest of the space. But kind of dedicating it as a snack nook, I think that just needs to be reimagined. Thank you so much for watching my video. It was amazing to see a teen space that offered so much to teens. I really didn't have too many recommendations. It's just great that they received so much funding to really make this space great for teens. I know that there is so much more. I would love to see this space in person and to really experience how they do their programming and how they utilize their space. Viewing the Hamilton Library, New York Public Library Instagram was a great way to kind of find out a little bit more about what they're doing with their teens. I would encourage everyone to take a look at it, maybe even steal some of their ideas. But thank you so much for watching and have a good one, guys.